chair calls Kayla Alvarado, Eddie Clark, Brian McCollum, Karen Seligmann, Debra McGregor, Lisa LeBlanc. They will be followed by Margaret Hoatsey, Trish Florence, Daniel Hawkins, Heather Frederick, Carrie Jones, and Kathleen Green. Kayla Alvarado.
Hi, my name is Kayla Alvarado. I'm originally from Mexico. I've been here for about 13 years. I'm number 10 in my family. My mom was a single mother. So my testimony is it is possible. Doesn't matter how many kids you have. If you have the anger and you love your kids, you can do it. I moved here when I was about 20. I basically was raped also. I was forced to have sex. I was pregnant. I was far from my mom's house, so I had to make a decision because I came to the land of freedom to do a good, American dream. But that American dream really destroyed my life. I killed my baby, because that's what it is. You murder your baby. Was the worst experience I don't wish to any women, young, older, doesn't matter. It hurts deeply. I just recently went through a crisis again. I want to kill myself. Yes, I had house, I had money. It doesn't pay all the blood that I spent for my baby. At the end, you look around, there's nothing there. It's emptiness. Your house doesn't pay that much pain that poor baby went through. So I asked everybody in here, have any of you had experienced firsthand an abortion? How are you going to tell your kids, I choose you over your brother and your sister? How do you think that's going to affect them? And if a person say that doesn't have feelings about the abortion, they're in denial, and that's evildoers. I asked Nancy Pelosi, Wendy, Obama, even Michelle, have they ever experienced? You don't see the pain that person feels internally, deeply. It ruins your life. And I'm for SB1.
Thank you. Eddie Clark?
It's Edie Clark.
I'm sorry.
My name is Edie Clark, and I'm from Red Rock, and I'm representing myself. And I'm a mother and a grandmother, and I oppose SB1. It imposes unreasonable obstacles to a woman's constitutionally protected right to a legal medical procedure, and it will disproportionately affect poor women of color in much of our state. For 20 years, I was a secondary school science teacher, and I taught mainly in Title I schools in Texas. I was a first-hand witness to the devastating consequences that unintended pregnancy has on the lives of teenage girls and their children. Deborah was a shy 16-year-old black girl, the daughter of a teenage mother and an unknown father. Her last name came from the town where she was born. Her mother was physically abusive. Deborah lived with a foster family, and she worked after school at a car hop in the 3rd Ward. School was difficult for her, but she determined to graduate from high school. Deborah's whole life changed when she was raped repeatedly by her foster family's son, and she became pregnant and dropped out of school. Still a child herself, she had no preparation for motherhood, no examples other than her own abusive childhood. She moved back in with her mother and returned to her old job at the drive-in while her abusive mother took care of the new baby, another generation caught in an endless cycle of poverty and abuse. Given the obstacles SB1 imposes, by the time a girl like Deborah, a naive young girl, realizes she's pregnant, it may be too late to arrange an abortion, especially if she is poor and lives in a rural area hundreds of miles from the nearest clinic. Since there is no exception for rape, this cruel bill could force a naive young girl like Deborah to bear her rapist child. Texas is a state with the highest teen birth rates in the country, where the majority of women who give birth are poor enough to qualify for Medicaid. And 1 in 4 children live in poverty, and yet our legislature has responded by declaring a scorched earth policy on women's health services. Sister Joan Chittister says, I do not believe that just because you're opposed to abortion that makes you pro-life. In fact, I think in many cases your morality is deeply lacking. If all you want is a child born but not a child fed, not a child educated, not a child housed, that's not pro-life. It's pro-birth.
Thank you, Ms. Clark. Brian McCollum.
Thank you. I'm Brian McCollum, and I'm from San Marcos, and I'm in Donna Campbell's district. wanted to talk to you about a 20-year-old baby. 20-year-old baby is 7 to 10 inches long.
20 week old.
20 week old. And it has arms and legs and sucks its thumb and responds to stimulus. And these people that say that this bill won't protect women, well, we know that approximately 40,000 women a year die in abortions in Texas. Now, how many of those survived to 20 weeks, I don't know, so I don't know the exact number that it'll save, but it will save some, and it'll save also some men, 40,000 men a year. We've already heard testimony about studies that actually show abortion is more dangerous. A 1997 study showed that after 1 month after a live birth, 27 out of 100,000 people or women are dead, but after an abortion, that same study showed 101 deaths per 100,000, and that was not only from the effects of the abortion, but included suicides and drug overdoses. One of the things that I really want to talk about is I'm a sidewalk angel. I'm out there on a regular basis, several times a week, helping women that think that they are backed into a corner, that they don't have any alternative. And I tell them about the 200 pregnancy resource centers in Texas. I tell them about the Gabriel Angel Project at every major Catholic church. I let them know how they have resources available to them. And those women, every one of them that has taken my advice and has had that baby, they're all so thankful. I've had women come back many months later after their baby is born, run up and give me a hug and thank me that I was there helping them. We need to get them to let them know that people are there for their needs. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. McCollum. Karen Seligmann?
Madam Chair, can I just ask one quick question of this gentleman?
Yes.
You said there's 40,000 women who have died from abortions. Where do you get that figure from?
Well, there's approximately 80,000 abortions every year in Texas, and half of them.
Well, you said 40,000 have died from abortions.
Yes, the 40,000 babies. The 40,000 babies died, of which approximately half would be females.
So you misspoke then about...
No, I didn't misspoke.
Well, you said women, I think.
Well,
you said.
Okay.
Thank you.
Karen Seligmann?
Thank you, Chair and Committee. My name is Karen Seligmann. I'm representing myself. I am a resident of Pflugerville, and Kurt Watson is my senator. I'm here to testify against Senate Bill 1 as follows. I moved to Texas in the summer of 1974. I had never taken birth control before but had been sexually active. I heard I could go to a place called Planned Parenthood and get birth control. I went to Planned Parenthood and they gave me a physical. They also gave me birth control pills and said to start them after my next cycle. A cycle never came. I became very ill and didn't have a cycle for a month or two. I returned to the clinic and was offered a pregnancy test and found out that I was pregnant. I had come to Austin with my boyfriend who was from Texas. He was in college and had no income. I was still looking for a job. I could barely take care of myself, much less a baby. I had been physically and verbally abused by my parents from the age of 3 years until I left at age 19. I had no one to help me. My boyfriend couldn't tell his parents. So I decided the best thing for me was to have an abortion. Planned Parenthood made an appointment for me to have it done in San Antonio. I got on birth control and went to Planned Parenthood for all my women's needs until I married in April 1989. I then had the stability in my life to raise children. I had a daughter in 1990 and a son in 1993. If it had not been for the resources of affordable health care provided by Planned Parenthood, I don't know what I would have done. Senate Bill 1 will take the choice and the resources away from Texas women, almost all parts of the state. This is 2013. Let's not go back to the days of back alley abortions and coat hangers. Please don't pass this bill so that women across the state can still have access to health care choices without having to endure unreasonable travel and financial burdens. Thank you.
Thank you. Debra McGregor?
Hi, my name is Debra McGregor, and I am an attorney, and I'm a constituent of Brian Birdwell in Waco, and I'm the executive officer of CareNet Pregnancy Center in Waco. Back in April of this year, I called to check on a client of ours that we had seen for a pregnancy test. She was 15 weeks pregnant, and she had decided to have an abortion. She answered the phone the morning that I called her from a hospital bed in Dallas, Texas, after she had undergone an abortion the previous day at the Planned Parenthood on Greenville Avenue. They had ripped and torn her uterine wall during a standard dilation and extraction abortion, and had severed a vascular bundle which led to a pint of blood accumulating in her abdominal cavity. She was wide awake during the procedure, knew when the abortionist perforated her uterine wall, screamed but was told to be quiet, and watched the doctor pull the baby from her uterus via ultrasound. This young lady was forced to walk out of Planned Parenthood clinic after telling them that she was dizzy, had abdominal pain, shortness of breath, pressure in her rectum, and thought that she was bleeding. She was a nurse. Even after she asked to stay longer for observation, she was told to drive herself to the nearest emergency room. She was not given the option of transferring by ambulance with transfer papers. The abortionist never offered to call an emergency room with which she was familiar, but she was forced to get herself to the nearest hospital. 3 hours in an ultrasound and 3 positions later, she was rushed into the OR for repair of her uterine wall, a partial hysterectomy. She's 24. In conclusion, the physician who performed the repair told her that she was very fortunate to be alive after that amount of time that it had taken her to get to the hospital and explain her condition. A similar case had occurred only 3 days prior and at that same abortion clinic, and that girl had died. And for those reasons, I've heard testimony about the transfer papers. Those don't work when they're not transferred and they're told to get themselves to the local ER. And also, as far as the need for the wide halls, those aren't needed possibly in a routine abortion, but they are needed in the routine complications suffered by an abortion.
Thank you. Ms. LeBlanc?
Hi, my name's Lisa LeBlanc. I'm from Austin, Texas, and I want to thank everybody here today. I've waited, at 3 o'clock this afternoon, I've waited 36 hours to speak. And I want to thank the author for being here and listening. Let us be very clear why we are here today. It is under the assumption for providing better quality and safer women's health care. But we all know we stand here today that it is not. This is a clear stand of Governor Perry's war on women, and let's be clear about that. This is a human rights issue. While he continues this attack on women, he is always making it clear he does not concern himself with the health and care of hundreds of thousands of lives. He has made it clear by his refusal of any help from the federal government offering to give the citizens of Texas who are entitled to receive and have paid to receive these federal dollars. He again provides nothing in place of access. He continues to put hardship on the poorest in our society. They are hungry and they are ill. At this legislation, you have passed laws that make doctors read scripts to patients that contain misinformation and make it even more difficult for women to access an informative decision. Written into the legislation were penalties that a doctor would jeopardize his medical license if they did not read the script containing lies and misinformation. This legislative body of Texas has passed laws that permit misinformation be provided to women about a very difficult decision causing stress on...
Thank you, ma'am. This panel, thank you. Exit out that way.